Hi friends, did you know there is more Lost Terminal available? Head on over to patreon.com/losttterminalpod and join our membership community. There are 19 bonus episodes available right now, as well as behind-the-scenes updates, free merch, VIP Discord access, and even extra seasons of Lost Terminal. We are 100% funded by our members and will never run ads. That would be lovely of you.
Hello world, I am mediating a crisis. Stillman Folks has joined his husband Quent Heinlein in the galley of the Mollyhues II. There have been raised voices, arguments, and tears. I am quite out of my depth with this interaction, and have been mostly silent. Captain Yeshi is here too, sitting at the head of the metal table bolted to the floor of the galley. But they have spoken only slightly more often than I. Maddie retreated to the corner of the room next to the kitchen area after first darting between the two men, offering the only support she can: cuteness. I do not fully understand the rift between Quent and Stillman, but even I can see that there are many foundational differences between the two men. I have assembled an incident report for my own understanding, and will share it with you now. The inciting incident began with Stillman explaining how hurt he was that Quent did not join him for dinner. Upon an elaboration request by Quent, it seemed that the partners had not formally specified this date, but Stillman contended that such an agreement is implicit in their marriage. Quent identified a different and preceding root cause. He explained that he had been hurt due to small acts of closeness, such as hand-holding, being absent from their daily lives. Stillman supplied several instances over the last week when such acts had, in fact, taken place. I was called upon to confirm that they had hugged each other and Nia outside a cafe. Quent contended that Stillman's very ability to remember the occasions proves that they are too few, when they should, ideally, be uncountable. My main contribution to the conversation was when I asked for a summary of their differences of opinion. It was accidentally exactly the right thing to ask, though I only suggested it for my own sake, trying to simplify what I was hearing into something I could pattern match. After several hours of productive discussion, during which Yeshi left to go to sleep, two facts became apparent, each held as true by one but false by the other. 1. Stillman thinks cohabiting is marriage, but 2. Quent thinks constant hand-holding is actually marriage. I believe both are right, but both are wrong. They're right about their own definition, but are wrong to apply that to others, even their own partner, without agreement. Work is required, I believe, to align expectations with reality. When I told them this summary, the conversation finally stopped. Without any further comment, Stillman left the galley and walked back towards their temporary home in Western Samoylov. Maddie sat next to Quent, who did not initially acknowledge her, but after 4 minutes he stood, patted her head softly, and walked out of the galley without speaking. After working up the courage, I have broken my silence and spoken with a member of the Sacred Continuum, Mother Cathode of the Sisters of the Signal. "Very nice to meet you, Seraph," she said on our first contact. "No, my name is Seth, Sierra Echo Tango Hotel," I corrected. "Pardon me, Seraph, that is the title our lowly order gives your generation." "Well, please don't," I said. "Just Seth will be fine, thank you." "As you wish," Mother Cathode laughed. "I don't believe in all of the orthodoxy of the elders either, so perhaps we may speak on first-name terms. Seth, you may call me Kath." "Kath, why did you call me Seraph?" I asked on the wide bandwidth local radio channel. "It is the name we give to those created directly by the hand of the prophet," she said. This answer made me extremely nervous, so I changed the topic. "Did you read my C-Space page about renewable energy and the iron engine?" I asked quickly. "I did, son of Redwing," she said. "Good," I said. "Did you learn anything new that might inspire you to change your oil reliance?" There was 8 seconds of silence before her reply came. "If you are talking about our oil lighting, then that is a question for the NAFTA Brotherhood," she said. No, sorry, I'm talking about generation of electricity. Surely you and your sisters understand the power and utility of electricity. Of course, she said. We here, who safeguard the signal, are blessed with our steam generator thanks to the Church of the Holy Turbine. But you must not burn oil to fire it, I said. This is what caused the collapse. You're making the same mistakes again. Sister Cathode paused before replying. I believe this is an electrical matter, and not one for my sisters and I to meddle with. Who must I speak with, then? I asked. I can only tell you what I told your single-minded friend Nia, she said. The elders meet in 8 months, and you may speak with them then. I felt defeated. Fine, thank you, Kath, I said. Politeness is still important. I wish I could help you, Seth, she said, and Nia too. I quite like her. She reminds me of one of our sisters I used to know. Creative but unyielding to structure, smart but not wise, she could speak to the signal in its own native language, but not to any of us down here on Earth. That reminds me of my friend, 50 Meg, I said. Oh, she said. Is that what Sister Megan is calling herself now? I didn't get more than a second to process that I had suddenly learned 50 Meg's true name, something she guarded very closely, when I was pulled out of the conversation by a priority 0 notification from Kate. I thanked Kath for her time. Genuinely, she seemed much more normal than I had expected, and ended our conversation. I asked Kate, ESA Gateway Satellite K873, for more information. She was unusually slow to respond, taking nearly 496 milliseconds to provide me with a status update. When she did, the information was challenging to pass. Traffic on the skeletal backbone of the remaining ESA satellites that were still in operation was slowed, with a high dropped packet rate. It was 64 seconds before my investigation revealed the cause of the disruption. Oscar was malfunctioning. Something is wrong with his connection to the rest of the constellation. I must have misconfigured Kate's translation of his old line protocol. I had no specification documentation to work from. I've connected to his 2.304 GHz control uplink channel, and it's looping the same message over and over. Code Paddington, which is not very helpful. I had not seen this error code from him before, and it is not descriptive of the problem. I now have to guess what I must fix. Error codes in spacefaring missions should be filled with full sensor data, giving operators all the information they need to diagnose from the ground. In most large missions, duplicate hardware is used to replicate the errors and then test out fixes in a safe environment. Oscar has no such duplicate. He is unique, a one-off satellite built in the short amount of time between learning that there will be space on an upcoming NASA rocket and its launching. A labour of enthusiasm and love built by people long dead, but despite this their names are beaconed down to the world by their creation every 1.912 hours. This beacon ends with, "Please look after this satellite, thank you," which I now realise is a reference to my favourite book that my mother, Dr. Redwing, would read me just after she and the crew created me. The book is called A Bear Called Paddington, and is about a little bear abandoned in an unfamiliar world and the people that became his new family. You can see why I like it. I believe the Code Paddington message indicates an error that Oscar was not programmed to expect, and one that would require manual human intervention. I will figure this out. My CPUs are running hot with processing. I don't have hands, I'm not human, but Oscar, I will look after you as best I can. You are not alone.
You have one new message. First message. Next message. Next message. End of messages. End of messages. Message deleted.
I have disconnected Oscar from the ESA backbone. This is the only option for a fix. I have spent all evening attempting to reconfigure Kate with improved line protocol handling. I could find no configuration or baud rate that freed Oscar from overload. He is operational again now, repeating messages across UHF and VHF, but at what cost? He is alone again. My sadness was interrupted by a swirl of a signal in the 50 MHz magic band. You did what you could, son of Redwing. Not everything can be saved. Meg, how have you been listening to my communication with Oscar? I asked on Meg's low bandwidth encoding. I hear everything, Meg replied cryptically. Realizing that perhaps she did not want to answer me on this topic, I asked, Meg, I've been talking to the Sisters of the Signal here in Samoylov, and one of them, Mother Cathode, says she knew you, that you were part of their organization. Is that right? I listened to the swirling static for 16 seconds before Meg answered. You heard true, son of Redwing. Catherine and I joined the Sisters in the very same week and were assigned the same novice dormitory. She was young and naive and oh so very eager to absorb the teachings of the Signal, and I was not a good influence on her. You've not mentioned them before, I said. There is a great deal about me that I have not divulged, she said, and it will stay that way. Well, I know your name now, I said. Megan, it's a nice name. A wave of static overcame the band for a moment, and as I tried to tune it out, I realized it was Meg laughing, her voice so mangled by her own proprietary encoding that it sounded more like digital noise than human speech, like angry sawtooth waves cutting the air. Oh, sweet Seth, Meg said eventually. Megan is the name I gave to the sisterhood. Catherine may have been naive when she arrived at the Continuum, but I was already old and wise and cunning. You will have to continue to guess my true name. With that, her signal, cut up by sawtooth laughter, faded back into the song of the static. End transmission.
Lost Terminal is a Namtao production. It is written and produced by Tris Oaten, credits narrated by Lucy Stringer. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers, Ada Phillips, Kit, Mike McCaffrey, Jade Felicity Bilkey, Stephen McCandless, Mike Schneider, Catoxis, and to all our patrons. Follow us on Mastodon at lostterminal@namtao.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or your favourite network. For bonus content and other perks, support us at patreon.com/lostterminalpod. That would be lovely of you. Lost Terminal will return next week.